It's a great card. The main card's amazing. So many good fights. And even on the prelims, there's a bunch of, names everyone would know. Tim Elliott, if you guys remember him, the Ultimate Fighter winner, gave Demetrius Johnson all he can handle. He's flyweight again, so that's a fun one. Then on Fight Pass, Jordan Mean, Eric Silva. I like Mean in that fight. You got Nordine Talib fighting. But the main card's the barn burner. The main card, you kick off with Glover Teixeira, Misha Cirkunov. Misha Cirkunov. If you remember Misha Cirkunov, he got starched by our boy Ozdemir, and then obviously Glover. So he got starched by Ozdemir, and that was an interesting fight because they're both undefeated in the UFC, and Miko's just been doing work, man. He's been doing work, but until he got starched by Ozdemir in 28 seconds. This is a good fight, though. This is a great fight. Yeah, Glover Teixeira, who we haven't seen in a little bit. Trying to think, his last one, he got dealt with without Alexander Gustafsson. I thought it was Gustafsson's best performance in a long time. Before that, he kind of have a mediocre fight with that Jared Cannonier, who's also on this card. I think he's the main event on the Fox Sports portion. You don't have to go to him. And then you got the knockout of Anthony Johnson. So my thing with Glover, again, all the skills, he came to the UFC a little too late. He had his visa issues in Brazil when he was in his prime, comes over to the UFC. Everyone wants to ride him automatically. Light heavyweight champion of the world. He gets cosigns from Chuck Liddell, Dana White, and he gets here. They give him some warm-up fights with Kyle Kingsbury, Maldonado, and then he gets Quentin Jackson, obviously an older Quentin Jackson. That goes to a decision. Then he gets James Tahuna. He submits him. The one thing about Glover that goes unnoticed, man, and a lot of people don't talk about it because of his fighting style, and it's part of his thing, but a lot of things that go unnoticed is his grappling is ridiculous. Ridiculous. World-class. Some of the best grappling at light heavyweight. World-class grappling. But he doesn't really use it. He got out-grappled by Phil Davis, although he did submit OSP. But he doesn't really use it. He's either knocking you out or gets knocked out, or it's kind of a shitty decision. So who knows what Glover we're going to see. He's doing his own training. He's still in, I think, Connecticut, where his gym's at. He's there. Misha's coming off a first loss in a long time, so a loss for either of these guys would be so detrimental to their career. And for Glover, especially at his age. But let's see how Misha bounces back after getting starched by Ozdemir. He's fighting for a title now. My favorite fight on the card, I'm sure most of your main event's your favorite. My favorite fight is Ponzinibbio and Mike Perry. Santiago. Remember, Santiago was the guy who kept poking our boy Gunnar Nelson in the eye. But still, he's a nightmare. Big ass dude too for the weight class, man. How he makes that weight, I have no idea. Versus Mike Perry. Mike Perry I feel like he's talked shit to everyone but his opponent. But Santiago. Everyone but him. And I don't think Ponzinibbio is a type of guy like an Alan Jouban that can sit on the outside and pick him apart. That's the only time Perry's going to be in trouble, when he fights an upper echelon guy with good footwork, good fundamentals, who's not going to stand and bang and play that game with him. Mike Perry hit so goddamn hard. We saw what he did to that Alex Reyes. It was a bummer, although Reyes came up in weight, still made the fight, but still had no business being there with a guy like Mike Perry. And then that elbow of Jake Ellenberger was just freaking, one of the knockouts of the year. So he's coming off 2 performances of the night. I like Mike Perry in this fight via knockout. For this fight not to end in a knockout would be such a shame. And that featherweight, kind of a big one. Ricardo Lamas, who's just, featherweight's just booming right now. You can't afford to lose a fight at featherweight. And Ricardo Lamas he's that motherfucker. He's that guy. No one wants to fight. He makes you look bad. He beats everyone not named Max Holloway or Chad Mendez. Whenever he gets to the upper echelon, he just can't pull it off. Anyone besides that, you're screwed. You're screwed. Ricardo Lamas makes everyone look bad. Unless you're Jose Aldo, Chad Mendez, Max Holloway. You're in trouble. I'll take Lamas in decision in this fight against Emmett. And then the main event. Who you got, Chin? You got Robbie Lawler, Rafael dos Anjos, where dos Anjos has just looked like a straight monster at welterweight. Probably a good decision for him to go to welterweight.
I got Lawler. I don't know why. Who you got?
Lawler's last fight was Cowboy.
Boom, yep.
You know, Cowboy came out like a banshee in the second round, which Lawler took that off. And then before that, he lost the title, getting knocked out by Woodley. Split, TKO. Split. God, at what point does the Grim Reaper of age and time tap Robbie Lawler on the shoulder? When does he decide to tap Robbie Lawler on the shoulder is the question. He's done it before, and Robbie Lawler reinvented himself and came back, and you know, we know him as this world-class fighter now. Not that he wasn't world-class before, but he had a rough patch for a while there. Then he stopped sparring, took some time off, came back. Let me see. Dos Anjos. God, Dos Anjos just walked through Neil Magny. But then when, you know, that's at 55, so he's cutting a lot of weight. He got starched by Eddie Alvarez. That's how Eddie Alvarez became a world champion at lightweight. Then Tony Ferguson just outclassed him. Tony Ferguson is just such a different animal as far as striking. And I know this is lightweight I'm talking about. He outclassed Tarek Safdien. You know what? I'm going to go with Dos Anjos. I think he has confidence. 5 rounds. God, I hate betting against Robbie Lawler. But my brain is telling me Dos Anjos in this fight. I'll take Dos Anjos. You got Robbie Lawler?
Yeah.
I got Dos Anjos.
Sweet.
So, I will take... I think right now in the UFC we're seeing a change in the guard. I think the old heads... old heads, veterans, even though they're ranked in the top 5, I think we're seeing younger, even though Rafael dos Anjos isn't young. I think a lot of these older guys, we're going to see them start to slowly fade away. So, with that being said, I will take Misha over Glover. I will take Mike Perry via knockout. I will take Ricardo Lamas over Josh Emmett. And then I'll take Rafael dos Anjos over Robbie Lawler. That one is a toss-up, flip a coin. What's the odds on that? Have we seen the odds at all? I'd imagine Robbie Lawler's the favorite. Yes, minus 115. God, kind of a pick'em fight. Mike Perry, underdog. I like Perry as a dog. Yeah, I like Perry as a dog. Perry as a dog would be my bet in that fight. I always like to give you guys an underdog to throw a couple bucks on. Definitely Perry. You know, if you're trying to make money in your betting, parlaying Mike Perry and Glover Teixeira is not a bad bet. Both dogs, barely a dog for Glover, but can Glover win that? Did I pick Misha? Yes, but look at the odds. Again, this is different. This is making money betting, you know, if you're trying to make a little dollars here. Parlaying Mike Perry and Glover as dogs, they can both easily win those fights. I see Glover, if he decides to wrestle and take him down grappling, can win in a decision, not exciting fight. I could see that happening. I'd see Mike Perry knocking Santiago out. They're going to get in a straight-up brawl. There you have it, but Mike Perry's my key as far as the dog goes. That's a fun card.